A very good afternoon to everyone. Firstly, thank you so much for joining in. We have Mr. Abhilash here, who is a digital marketer at Pogopost. He will be taking you guys to the session today, which is on leverage digital tools to grow your business. Before we start the session, I would like to explain you guys the platform, how it works. So out here, we'll be having a presentation first, and we are open to questions. And you can go on the chat button and put down your questions. We can take the questions during the presentation and after, depending upon how it goes. Uh, Other than that, if you want to directly speak to the speaker, you can also click on raise hand, and I'll give you guys the mic access, and you can go it forward. All right, so we're good to go. Abhilash, you can start.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Manmeet, for this opportunity, and thank you guys for coming. What I see is we don't have a large audience right now, so which is a bad thing for me, but it's also a good thing that we can actually do a lot of one-on-one cases because marketing in itself is very focused and segmented. So I can definitely after the presentation, after I tell you how it's going on, I can get that. Let us before I begin, I wanted to set the base clear so that one is I want to know that if you guys can hear me clearly. If in case, please, I think the chat option is open. You just let me know that my voice is clear. Second, in case you feel that I'm being a bit fast when I'm talking, at times it happens. You can just let me know in the chat, and I'll ensure that things go straight. And for the expectation front, what I want to know is because there are a lot of digital tools that I'm going to talk about and a lot of digital marketing aspects that I'm going to talk about. And I do not expect you all to go home and do that. What I expect from you guys is in case you hired a person or in case you work with an agency or some person, you know what you're talking about, and at least that person who will be doing this work for you will know that okay, you're the person who knows the basics. I cannot cheat you, I cannot con you, and things can go smooth in that way. So that is the expectations that I want to set and the base very clear. Before we begin, I wanted to do a small quiz. Manmeet, can you? Is there a polling option that we have which we can do?
Yes, I am just going to put down the question.
Yeah, please. Just let me know once the quiz is on.
All right, it's on. So the question basically is how many of you trade in stocks and have heard of the names like Sharekhan or Angel Broking? The poll is on. Although attendees requested to.
In case you're not able to answer it, I think you can put up your answer in the chat too. So yes, the thing it's a yes or no question, and once it's done,
Abhilash, you can click on the poll button to see the results.
all right. Okay, great. So 67% of you guys don't know. I have not traded in stocks. Not a problem. We can stop that. The reason behind why did I do this poll is. I'm assuming you would have at least heard of Sher Khan and Angel Broking because they have done a lot of advertising. And Angel Broking specifically is like a legacy company. I think they have started since 1987 or so, and so it's been so many years. And right now, the reason I did this poll is to tell you that what has happened in this sector. Angel Broking and Sher Khan are like very big time long players. They have their offices all over India. They do stock broking work with tons and tons of people. Then comes a company called Zerodha. Zerodha is has come up with an online platform. They have an amazing app. I think one of the finest app in stock trading that I've seen because I'm a big stock trader. I do a lot of investments. And interesting thing is, within a span of 10 years, less than 10 years, they have become one of the India's largest stock broking firm. And their valuation right now is almost 7,000 crores, whereas Sher Khan has like 2,500 crores, and Angel Broking is also ranging in the same valuation. But look at how fast they have grown. And the reason they have grown so fast, it's not rocket science. They have adapted digital. They saw that there's a need of going digital, and they've grown so fast. That's the reason I wanted to just set an expectation that why do we need to adapt digital and why is there a need for it, and how can we use this small tools and techniques to actually beat our competition globally, because all I'm assuming all of you are into export and import market and you're dealing with international clients, and it becomes very important that you come across as someone who is advanced, knows what he's talking about, and is digitally adept. Now let me share my screen so that I can go to the presentation. Just give me a second. Uh, can you guys see my screen? Is it visible?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Now let's begin by talking about some of the three major problems of Indian exporters, and this also applies to importers too. So I created in the focus of exporters. One of the first thing is lack of visibility. What do you mean by visibility? Now, take an example of one of my clients who exports pipes. They trade in pipes, PVC pipes, and steel pipes of various ranges and sizes. Now, one of the issues that when I had a discussion with them, they told me that Abhilash, when we cater to like Southeast Asian market or we go to Oman, Middle East market, this is what happens with us is there are a lot more jazzy players out in the market, especially from China and other countries, and they have a similar quality product which I provide in, but I think they have a better branding in terms of what they do. So if whenever I met somebody, they have never heard of my name, but they have always heard of some other Chinese company or Southeast Asian company. They have heard about those names, but they have never heard of me. So in this case, what we are seeing is a lot of these exporters and importers of various from different countries. They're actually spending a lot of money in creating visibility and improving their branding, and that's the reason what is happening is some of our exporters, they lack visibility in the market. So if you're not visible, as in simple terms, in one of the sayings in Hindi is "Jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai." So when you lack visibility, people don't see you. When you're not seen, they don't even consider you. So that becomes one of the major challenges. Lack of trust. Lack of trust is always a major challenge in this international industry. Especially, let's just take an example of you. For example, an exporter. I spoke to one of my rice exporters from his office in set up in Noida. I won't be stating his name due to some reasons. When I was having a discussion with him, he said that so, Avilash, what I do is I ask him this question that how do you trust a guy when you see him and you meet him? He's in either, let's say, Ukraine, he's sitting in Germany, you hardly would have spoken with him, would have met him once. How do you trust and how do you ensure that you do a business with him? He told me this that Abhilash, I do two things at least. One, I ensure I have a lunch with him and with his family. Second, I meet his banker. So, and that's, and then knowing this made me realize that there's so much lack of trust in this industry, and I know what has happened with so many people. They have lost money trading. Even last year there was a scam wherein in Dubai there was some rice trading scam that happened, etc., etc. So we know in this industry there's a lack of trust, but that is a very broad scale. What I'm talking is when you're trying to communicate with your client or a customer for the first time, you do some things due to which you lack trust. People, they don't trust you. There are certain tips and techniques that I want to tell you through this presentation, which you need to ensure that you have that in your system that actually builds trust. And trust is not defined to a single term, it is cumulative. And I'll tell you more about it down the line. Next is lack of resources. So resources can be anything. It could be money, it could be tools, it could also be lack of knowledge. So the reason I've added these resources, and I'm talking in terms of, I've added the resources, but I would say this is more of knowing and not knowing what's available next to you. One thing is, it's resources are available, but you don't know that it's available, then you're living in an altogether different ball game. But if resources are available and you're not able to avail it, that's when it's a separate set of problems and challenges that which I won't be covering, but we'll try to catch up on this. Now, what happens? Now, let's say the first thing, as I said, is if competition is superior, you you won't be able to grow. Your market won't grow. ultimately more customers you will end up losing the competition, and God forbid, as in this might be a very bad thing for a business. What happens if you have no trust? See, I'm sure all of you guys, you spend a lot of money in finding that one lead with whom you can convert, you can talk and do a long-term business. And it goes in thousands of rupees of just identifying that one customer. Some of you go to exhibitions wherein there's a lot of money involved. You go to book flight tickets, you have gone to some countries, had their exhibition, spoken to people, or you would have spent money on buying some leads, calling them, you would have hired people. So everything is a cost. And then if you're not able to convert them, it becomes a loss for your business. And if there's no trust, and imagine trust is like one of the largest factors in this when you're trying to convert a lead. A lead is somebody whose contact number, name, number, email ID you have, or you have met him in person, but is not yet your customer, which means he's not paid you money. So he's yet to pay you money, and to make him a paying customer, trust is like one of the largest factor that's going to help you. And if you don't have, you will lose. So all you're doing is pushing in more money, nothing is happening. And what happens is lack of resources. It's very generic right now. For example, you have low profit, will be high cost. But one of the most important thing that happens is if you don't have enough right resources, you will be actually spending your time on a lot of activities which is not required. Where, for example, you could have spent that time on meeting more people or converting them, making them more of the customers. Instead of that, you're actually doing some other work which is not necessary. Now, how to beat competition? What is one of the largest question that I've always come across, and the answer is very simple. All of you would have heard about it, and I'm sure it's not new for it. But I'm going to show you some tips and techniques, as in what all things that we can do to beat our competition. One of the ways is yes, become visible on Google and social, and for that, let me share my screen. Before that, anybody wants any, or I'm sure some of you would have your websites. Anybody would like to share the website URL with me? As an example, I can quickly do a rough audit and give you some tips on what should be happening.
You guys can put down your company's mail ID or the name.
Yeah, the website URL, if you have, if you can type it down in the chat option.
I'm going to hand the mic access to Mr. Anil.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yes, Mr. Anil.
I have given you my.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That would do. Let me open that in a new tab. Square World. All right. This looks a very decent, well professional made. So, all right. You're into medical equipments.
Yes.
Right. And which all countries do you deal with?
Currently, we are exporting to Middle East.
Middle East. All right.
But we are actually looking more customers actually, and this was the first export we did just 2-3 months back, and we are looking to grab more customer, and that is where we have joined your session.
Okay, great. Now let me try to look at a mobile view. So one of the interesting way to do, yeah, if you can see on the right corner, it has come to my right corner. I'll try to bring it to. Sorry. Okay. So your one of the best thing that you have done is it is mobile optimized, and I can clearly see that it's. I'm sure it will work clearly in the mobile. This is what are the keywords? Let me just search this name in Google, and then I'll show you what all things can be done.
Actually, I'll tell you keyword, but we are yet to start the SEO. So we are just on the work of putting up order to our vendor, and we'll be starting our SEO.
All right, not a problem. Now, so let's say you're into medical equipment supply.
I can give you. You can write down 3-ply mask.
3-ply mask. Okay.
We are manufacturer of a 3-ply mask.
Manufacturer. Okay. So if you see, one of the top things that you get is like India Mart, because these are listing platforms. I'll come across to it why it has come up. Now, here, for example, let me because he said that he's a 3-ply manufacturer. This is one company, this is Surgical Mall of India, or like Medical Expo. I'm assuming these are listing. And then is Rebel a competitor? I'm just checking. All right, so it's a company. Now look at this. I want to throw some light on what all basics that is this. Now, let's say a Middle Eastern businessman who's looking for 3-ply mask manufacturers. Probably he'll be writing three-ply manufacturers India.
Right.
That's what he would be searching for. Now look at this. What is happening here? There's somebody who's running ad, and his intention is what? His intention is to look for manufacturers and manufacture three-ply masks. And there is what is one of the things that he sees is three-ply mask manufacturers, which is very easily understandable. I'm sorry. It's very understandable. It says clearly on his face that okay, this is a company which is into manufacturing three-ply masks, and they have added like China, reliable manufacturer. That's another part. If he wants to get into China or doesn't want, let's come down. Let me look at another companies. Now look at this. So what we call this, let's go one by one. Here is the URL. The top one is the URL. This big bold in blue that you see, we call it meta title. So what happens? Why do all these languages comes up? Is now look at us. So we are humans, and this is Google. Google doesn't understand human language. We don't understand Google's language. So there has to be some or other way in which we can make people understand, and even Google understand. So this is the headline which even Google understands. What happens is Google has something called a crawler. Look at him as a person who what he does is he goes to each and every page, notes down, and keeps it in his record. He's like a bookkeeper, kind of a sort of a bookkeeper. That's what Google has. So this meta title, when we search for it, Google will say that okay, somebody's headline is matching with it. It's also India. So Gujarat is also a part of India. So this kind of matches with it, and also he looked at the meta description. So what happens is whenever somebody searches, the first thing that we see is this meta title, and this clearly says that what it is into, and then we add some description. This, even though the description is not excellent, but it gives some or other clue that okay, this is one of the good companies. It's in India. It does exports. So he has some or other idea that okay, I can get into it. Now let's get into the website. Let's do a small audit. What all things that you can improve. Now, one of the things that I would suggest is now what has happened is we have all our social icons, and there's a large logo here. If you look at a lot of analytics, what happens is people usually don't scroll to the bottom. Even though it has a smaller scroll, people usually won't go there. So what you need to do is you need to add a messaging here on the first fold. I'll show you our CocoaPort's website and try to give you some example of it. Now look at this. When you come to CocoaPort's website, you see the best import and export services in one place. It gives a clear expectation that when you come to CocoaPort, we talk about export and imported services only. And then here's one line that we given, and we set a clear expectation. What the Quora needs to do is, now there are multiple which is scrolling. I would highly recommend not to do that. Have one single screen and write one line that you think is sufficing a business. It could be like medical equipment suppliers or India's largest medical equipment suppliers, or find the best medical equipments or exporter of best medical equipments, or whatever the keyword is. And then there has to be a button. As in, now I have come to this website, what should I do? I'm not clear about it. The first thing I need to do is when I'm here, there's an image, right? The first thing that I see is an image, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Think as a customer, think how would you search? That is very important when you're trying to build a website. The first thing you need to do is have a one catchy one-liner which talks about what you're doing or what you expect him to do, and then there should be a button. It could be that reach us for enquiries. Could be one of the button, and I click there. You could take me to this form that you have created. And all right, I understand. Okay, if I have to reach you, I'll have to fill the form. In case he doesn't want to reach you right now, he can then scroll around. Okay, the three-ply mask, cotton mask, PPE kit. These are some of the basics. Now, I'm going to look at the contact us form, and that's great that you have address clearly mentioned. One of the interesting thing that I always recommend to some of the customers is what you can do. Right now, it is very easy to get an. Let's say you're dealing with Oman or like UAE, so it is very easy that you can go there or even there are some of the companies where you can get a Saudi number or a UAE number. What you can do is you can add like a Saudi logo or like let's say Oman flag logo and put a phone and add the number. And if you're trying to reach an Oman guy and he comes to his contact us page, he will feel that okay, this company is also present in Oman, or some local presence is available. So because there's a local presence available, he will immediately call on that number instead of doing an international call. because it gives him a surety that okay, something local is available, so he'll immediately call. Here is an email ID which I won't recommend, and why I won't recommend. I'll talk about this email, the way it has been structured later. But I think inquiry form, everything else is sorted. There's some of the basics now. When I wanted to start, I wanted to show you one of the examples of a company, one of our clients who's they do Hubble oil exports, and look at this website. And right now they're revamping the whole website right now for them. But if you go through this website, look at this. I'm sure most of the people would have a website similar to like this, wherein they've just added content, and there's no clear structure or clear flow. This part is good, wherein they have added some customer testimonial and they've added what are the benefits. But then look at this. So it contains all this equipment, but a normal customer won't even understand what is it. So he has to give more and more information about it. Will have a negative pages. Contact us. It is mobile friendly, yes, that's an excellent thing. But the overall flow is very shabby. It's not working good enough. Now let's go to again to Secura World. They have products, great home, inquiry. They have galleries, company. I agree. Let's look at about a section. Secura is a reputation. Right. One of the things that I would recommend, which a lot of people are missing here, is now, okay, I know that it's a great company, but I don't know who is behind the company. What I would recommend is if I am whoever is the owner, I would recommend him to add his picture here. What happens is, now look at this. When he's interacting with a website, you don't want him to feel that he's talking to a machine. You ideally want him to talk to he should understand that there's a human running the company and there's a human connection available. Even though we are into tech world, but the humanness is very important. So what I would highly recommend is you should have some human pictures here. Even whoever is running the company, his picture should be available because that adds to trust. These are some of the basic things. Apart from this, let me go back to this. And when I say that SEO, so in large and large, I'll give you one simple statement. What I mean by SEO. When I say SEO, all I want is whatever the person is searching for, he should get that. For example, if he's looking for red colored formal shoe, and you are selling red color formal shoe, your headline should say that. It should also be present in this meta title, so that the person knows that okay, if I'm looking for red shoe, he clicks on it, he opens the page. Even if he opens the page, he should see a red shoe. If he's seeing a black shoe or a white shoe, it's a bad experience for him, which means you go down the Google and you're not visible to the people. That's another big problem. You said 3-ply mask manufacturer. Give me a second. Manufacturer in India. Let's look at this. Okay, he's running an ad. That's the reason Rebel is coming up in the top. Look at this. So somebody is now. Why is IndiaMart on the top? He's searching for 3-ply manufacturers in India. 3-ply price and manufacturers. Find here 3-ply face masks, etc. exporters in India. Get contact details, address. It is so relevant for the person. He will immediately click on this. So you need to look at this. Can you see? Just what you do is whatever product or services you are into, all I would recommend is think about those keywords which generally you would search. Somebody who's trying to find you. Do this and come across. Now I'm going to give you a very subtle technique which a lot of people don't know. What happens and what is the common mistake you do? Now what is happening is when I'm searching, this search is happening in India. So it is google.india. Now let's go to settings. Click on search settings. If you see, you come down. Here is a country. So my current region is available. So what will happen is whatever results you're seeing in India, it might not happen that you're seeing the same results in let's say any other country. Mr. Anil, which state did you say? Which country are you dealing in? If you can type it in the chat. Qatar. All right. Let me see Q. All right. See, here is Qatar. I save it. All right. I'm saving my preference. Now, this search is actually happening based on Qatar. So this is the exact result of what he will see in Qatar. Now let's go down. Ripple is obviously coming in. India is coming up. India Might is also showing. Now look at this. These are another results which we have started seeing. There's some company called Farmada, Aura Machine, etc., etc. And can you see here? These are also some of the keywords which people are searching for. Three-ply mass manufacturers in Mumbai, in Delhi, etc., etc. What I would recommend is I would recommend you guys to do that in incognito mode. What is incognito mode is wherein it does not pick up your cookies. Some of these results are also based on what I'm searching from my past, so it's being shown. I would always recommend click on here, go to incognito mode, google.com. Sorry, it's going to google.com, three-ply mass manufacturers in India. Do the same. Now let's look at what are the results I'm seeing here. India Mart, Surgical, Exporters India, MS Surgical, Exporters India, MBL Mass, Aura Machines, Bajaj, Surgical Companies. These are the current listings. Now what I want to do is go to settings, go to search settings, click on Qatar, save, yeah, saved. Now let's look at what is being shown. I'll come to this part later. So India Mart is being shown, Exporters India, MBL, I think Dr. Ma, these are the thing that came up again. Aura Machine is doing good. So earlier here I used to see an Amazon ad, but I think somebody else is running an ad. So this is how you look at when you're targeting a regional company, when you are targeting a region, and this is how you should look at what kind of things is being actually searched for. And this depends on various factors, but this is how you should go about it. And just learn, see what are they looking for. Three-ply mask, etc. Now, one of the important things that you should also do is, can you see something like this? These. This is something called as Google Business Page. Now, it is easy to create. You just go to go type Google Business Page. Google Business Page. It'll ask you to sign up, but it is very easy to create. What you need to keep in mind is, now let me go back to the example of Secura. They are given this address, this number, here's an email ID. You need to ensure that this information should be same throughout, wherever you give this, be that any website, be that India Mart, be that Exporters India, be that some other country's listing website, or be that Google Business Page. You need to ensure that this information is same everywhere. That is very important, so that if Google sees there is a consistency, which means it will know that you're an authentic company, and it will take it up. It will help you start showing up and up and up. Now, this is great. Now let us look at, this is a very basics I'm talking about in terms of website. All you need to do is, when I gave an example of Sephora, they've added products. Always think like what will people search for and what are the information they're looking for. That is what needs to be very important. So always the first fold is wherein you tell him that this is what we do, or for example, like I'm the largest manufacturer of this, or this is best quality, and then reach us, contact us. This has to be a button. This sets a clear expectation. Then you can add your products and tell us like what is your USP, etc., etc., and then you can add an inquiry form. This flow has to be consistent. Ensure that your whole website is mobile friendly. If I open on any phone, it's clearly visible. Now look at this. I think maybe it's because of the internet or something. We need to ensure that it happens. This should always be there. Now let's look at social. Let's look at LinkedIn as a platform. What happens in general? You don't need to do paid advertising. That is not meant for you right now for this particular segment, especially for SMEs. But what you can do is you can try to create content that can add value. Now, how do we look at it? Let's look at, let me give you some examples. I'm sure all of you know about Maersk, right? I'm gonna, because it's one of India's world's largest, sorry, Let's look at Musk's page. I think I find it very fascinating. Let me look at Musk's page. Yeah, here. So Musk is like one of the best companies who have had their social correct. As in, they are one of the best social media pages. If you want to learn, I would highly recommend that. Look at Musk's social media case studies online. Read about them. What have they done, and how do they add value? Just go through them their pages. Now, one of the things that you need to look at when you're dealing with social media. Now, what usually people do in general is they will create a LinkedIn page. You will find three types of posts. One is posts about festivals, which generally a lot of people do. Whatever festival comes up, they'll create a post, they'll post it. Second, they will second thing that they'll do is there will be some motivational quotes which they easily share. Third thing that you will see generally is the people will be sharing their pushing their products. That this is what I'm selling. Let's say in case of 3-ply mask, there'll be usually a lot of companies will be setting up the product. They'll be adding units, and they will be sharing it. This is not what you're supposed to do. Now look at what you are doing in social media. Now look at LinkedIn as a platform, or let us look at Facebook as a platform. When you are on Facebook, you are not going there for business. Generally, when a lot of people, some people would be doing it, but generally when you go to Facebook, what do you do? You're going there for content. You're going there for entertainment. You're going there for there's one term that I use a lot is called edutainment, which is a combination of education plus entertainment. It's a combination. So you need to start thinking about what kind of content do you think will actually help your audience, be that information, be that entertainment, be it just pure entertainment, but actually relevant to your industry. I'll give you one example. So there was this company which was into some Mystic system. It's a very B2B company, that's hardcore engineering company, and this is how they spin off their social. What they did was they realized that nobody in the world will be interested if I start sharing content about my machines. That this is the height of the machine, this is the weight of the machine, this is how it mystics, how this sprays mist or fog, etc., etc. What they realized is, so their machines were used for creating an environment in zoos. So majorly the world's largest zoo, they started using the machine to create a mist for the environment for a lot of animals whose environment is not conducive to live. Let's, for example, a zoo in Africa, and that whole environment is not conducive, or it's not friendly for a penguin from Antarctica. So if they have to keep penguins from Antarctica, they need the system which will actually create that kind of environment. It will throw some mist and create that controlled pressure and temperature so that it becomes very habitable for the penguin to live. And then that's what they thought, that we should start creating content about our animals and how are we making their life easier. So, and there are a lot of people, they want that these animals should have a better life, better understanding. So the social media page was specifically for that, which talked about that. They just spoke about how animals need different environment. How can penguins survive in an environment? How can husky like a dog and survive in different environments? Realized that they look at their databases, so that there are such amazing pictures of ships and such amazing videos of ships in the sea. They started pushing those content, and all of us will love amazing ships as how large and large big they are, and especially the way they sail on the waves. People started loving those and started sharing those images, and that's how Maersk as a company picked up. It might not be very directly relevant to your audience, but look at the content that you can do. So, and I'm sure Maersk also comes up with various educational content. Now let's look at, even I would show an example of Cogoport too. What we try to do, we right now, the whole idea is that we add all informational value to people, all the exporters and importers. So one thing that we try to do is we add various statistics that we find from our research, so that this can help exporters and importers. Second thing what we do is we bring in a lot of templates, For example, if you want to email, we create a lot of email. So we create a lot of blogs and articles so that it can help you out. So for your business, you need to think that what can you do to add value. And I would highly recommend to stop doing the normal work that we do, wherein we're pushing our. I'm putting up a post saying that these are the my products. This is the units. This is the pricing. You should buy it. Stop doing that. Yes, I'm not saying completely. I would recommend as a split of 70, 20, 10. 70 should be informational. 20 can be entertainment. 10 can be you about a company, about a product, anything else. That's the best approach. Now, why social? And where does it help you add value? One is it helps you, for example, you're trying to connect with somebody and he searches for you and he comes to social pages and he sees some value in it. If he gets some or other value, right? Even if it's not directly relevant to your business, but he gets some value, he learns something from you, it helps him build trust. And then when you reach out to him to sell him a product, he will, by default, because he's got some value, he will understand. He will come back to you. The chances of him becoming your customer is higher. These are very basic, but in case you have a very specific question, I'll take it down the presentation. Now let me get back to here. Now I talked about become visible on B2B marketplaces. Sorry. Now, when I talk about listing pages, all you need to do, when I showed you this example wherein you have to go to Google and go to settings and select a country, this is what you're supposed to do. Like Mr. Anil, because he's dealing with in a client in a market like Qatar, all you need to do is change this Google setting of Qatar and then search for B2B marketplaces or search for export import marketplaces. What will happen is a list of websites will come, and I would highly recommend that you create a profile there. Creating a profile is free, and ensure that the information that you give is consistent. Then the email ID, the numbers, the address, other information, it has to be same everywhere. If it is same everywhere, even Google will think that you are a credible company, and it will rank you higher. So this is one of the tips and tricks that you should obviously do. Whichever country you're targeting, look for B2B marketplaces in Google. Change the country setting and start creating profiles, because the more places you're present, the more visible you are. How do you build trust, which is like another very important topic which a lot of customers face. Now let's do another quiz. Manmeet, can you add this quiz? I want to see a poll.
So poll won't be possible because there are three options. I've put it on the chat. You guys can select your option and put it on the chat itself. So the question is, if you want to reach out to a company for business and you see 3 email IDs, but there's only one email ID which you'll have to send through, which email ID will you choose? Will it be sales@abx.com, abx@gmail.com, or abhilash.raut@abx.com?
Yeah. So the idea is the first ABX is just a random pseudo company that I created. So one is like sales@abx.com. Second is abx@gmail.com, wherein they're using a Gmail email ID. And third is the name of a person, first name dot last name @name of the company.com. I think it's under chat, under live chat. I would recommend let's take like 5-10 seconds and just type your answers.
You can put on A, B, or C as well. That would also be fine.
Yeah. In case if you're facing issue, let me just proceed forward. Let me upload. Okay. Anil also says yes, absolutely right. As in, do you know the reason behind this? The main reason is now this is a person. So first name dot last name tells him that okay, there's a person out there, and I can directly reach him. That's very important. Now, so what I also highly recommend people is, for example, there's somebody who's handling sales in a company and you want everybody to reach them. Ensure that the email ID name is his first name dot last name @companydomain.com. Gmail and sales, they generic like info@abx.com or sales@abx.com. They are fine, but then people don't trust because everybody knows a lot of people would be emailing, somebody is opening up, somebody doesn't open up. Trust doesn't build up. Second, what happens is when you're trying to send an email from this email IDs, first from Gmail, if you send from Gmail, it goes to a spam for sure. So second is when you're trying to send from info@abx.com or let's say sales@abx.com, marketing@abx.com. When you're sending a mail from here, let's say I'm the owner of sales@abx.com. I start sending you mail. 7 out of 10 emails will end up in your spam because they're very generic. Even Google identifies them as a spammy email, especially whenever there's this terms like sale. If there is sales, the chances are high that it will go to your spam. So imagine you're trying to email to your customers and he's not getting that email at all. And let's say he finds that mail in spam. If he sees that email in spam, look at the impact it's doing on your trust. So one of the major things that I wanted to point out is this. Let me share my screen again. Why I'm talking about email today? The reason is most of the formal communication that you would be doing with the customer, yes, via WhatsApp, via phone, but email is like a proof. So email is like a core communication that you have with your customer. And here are the common mistakes that you can see on the left side. One of the common mistakes that you do is you don't have a non-company, sorry. Yeah, you have a non-company email domain. Always follow this nomenclature: first name dot last name @companyname.com. Always have a company email ID, as in do not use Gmail, like abhilash@gmail.com or araut@gmail.com, or let's say ABX, let's say company name @gmail.com. Never, ever, ever. Please, I think we are right now professionals. It's highly recommend you should get into this and start using email domains. And there are a lot more. There are various. Some of the name I've mentioned here, like Zoho in India, it gives you a free email domain for some level. But if you need more, you can obviously buy it. Gmail, Google for Work also does that, wherein it gives you access, wherein it does the same thing. You take it up. If you're working with agency, tell them that what is the amount for Google for Work, and I'm sure that because of pandemic, one good thing is a lot of these companies have come up with a solution for SMEs, with a cheaper solution for SMEs, which is affordable. So start exploring those and have this email domain, and it's highly recommended. And Google for Work is good because currently the prices are down. Second, they also give you about Google Sheets, Google Docs, which can be easily written, molded, etc. Second mistake which people do is they use multiple colors in text. At times, I've received emails with red highlighted, blue colors highlighted. For example, if they are at pricing, the pricing would be in red color or green color, and they would have bolded it, nicely written. It looks great according to you, but Google finds it spam. Whatever email server you're using, it will find it as a spam. If you're sending this email, chances are high that will go to the spam. Do not use multiple colors. Use black. If you want to highlight something, do not add a lot of links, or do not bold text. One or two stick, because I'm sure if you're writing an email, there should not be 10, 20 important things. One email should have only one important thing or two important things, not 10 important things. So identify what is very important, and if you want it to really highlight, bold it. That's enough. Use black color as a text. Do not use red, blue, pink, white, whatever the other colors. This looks spammy. This looks like somebody is emailing from like a Nigerian prince from some country is actually emailing you for money. It looks like that, and Google will, whatever email server. I think most 67% of our email servers are Gmails. It will go to spam. So any email server will send you to spam. Now, third. I'm sure you would have received something called ask. Why I've used ask before giving is to build trust. When you're reaching out to people for the first time, I would recommend that instead of just telling him that, okay, these are my products, this is what I do, use it. I would recommend that you add some value to him. What is value? It could be, let's say do some research. let's look at in this three-ply manufacturing itself. Look at some content around online, as in you think what kind of content would help him. Maybe maybe you're searching online, you found an article on quality. How do you identify a three-ply mask based on quality? Just a random example, it could be anything. You found that it does not mean that this content has to be created by you. It can be anywhere, but you have to share this content with him. Tell him, write him an email that hey Abhilash, I found your company about that you're looking for three-ply masks. I'm also into this domain, but we can have a chat or have we can time. But I think just as a one-liner, I was going through some online research and I found this amazing article which usually helps people talk about how can you identify good quality three-ply masks and how you should identify this quality. Here is the link. Why don't you go through it? I'm sure it'll help you out. Regards, your name and it up. Wherein you're trying to give him some value, and he sees that okay, he gets some email. But if let's say he says okay, oh yeah, this is a nice article that, and thanks Abhilash for sharing this with me, and this will help build trust. This will think that you're not pushy, and this is always we have this human nature, something called reciprocation. As in, for example, agar if I've done something for you, subconsciously or consciously, you will think that I owe you. You will think that you owe me. So even if it's a small good thing that you've done, for example, you've given him a good article that he thinks that it's valuable. You might have written that article or somebody else would have written the article. Does not matter. You were the person who shared that knowledge to him. You would be very happy, and he'll feel that okay, now I think because it's given to me, I think I owe it to him. And then when you do business negotiations later, it helps. Poor grammar. Sorry. Fourth point is poor. I think this is I have seen so many emails that have poor grammar, and I understand this because for a lot of us, English is like not our mother tongue, and we would not have had that. Even I do mistakes, but there is a solution. Let me tell you where it is. Let me. There's something called Grammarly. I've added that into my PPT. So all you need to do is I'll just take you back. When you log in into Grammarly, it is for a basic version, it's free. This is something it'll come up. You click here, and wait, I've written an email for you guys just for a basic understanding. I wrote this email, and he added. And look at this, what's happening. Here's a comma mistake. Hi Nikhil, he said this. Now he's go through. Now he said that there's an error here, and this is the convention. Made the right thing, where you can check out. He's saying the checkout there's two space. Okay, done. And then he says that here I did like to personally take you to the CocoaPort booking platform, and then he says that okay, change it. It's so easy. Look, now my email is grammar proof. Every email that you send to an international client, please ensure that you pick up that text. It takes you like it'll hardly take you 2-3 minutes. Add it to Grammarly. So Grammarly is also not foolproof. Let's be correct, but it at least makes it legible for the person to read and for the front person to know that okay, somebody who's reaching out to me is very professional and he knows what he's writing and is not maybe making this error. Especially if you're writing to countries which has like English is their like mother tongue. Let's say you're dealing with Oman. Oman and other countries is okay. Qatar is okay, but still, I'm sure in Qatar a lot of expats are working, so they do their business communications in English. That should be good. If you're dealing in Europe, especially like say Scotland, Ireland, UK, they are very nosy about grammar. Especially also in America or Australia, these countries wherever the English is like a basic, they're very nosy about English, and they might reject a client based on this if you cannot communicate. So this is very important. This helps you build trust. And there's a free tool available named Grammarly. Use it and take it up. Now here, one of the important thing which I also told you before is this lack of humanness. Now, how do you bring humanness in an email? Anybody can you suggest what you can do in an email that you think that can bring humanness? Anybody in the chat? I've come to my chat. How can you bring humanness in one single email, in one email that you're sending? Yeah, Anil, excellent. As in, by putting a picture, but I won't recommend like a bigger picture. What I would recommend is when you're writing, doing a signature, the email signature that has to look very professional. And I'm gonna take you to one of the tools which is called HubSpot, which is a free tool. HubSpot signature. It's a free email signature template generator by HubSpot, and it's an amazing tool. All you need to do is, I'll just take you through it quickly. Yeah. Look at this. One of those examples is here. There are various templates that I can do. All I need to do is add pictures here, add my profile picture, add my company logo. It creates various templates. Whichever template you want, just copy and paste it. It does the job and looks neat, professional, clean. Here's the logo that I've added. I can add one picture here. So whatever you want to do, it's available. So use this tool. It's amazing, and ensure that this signature is available in each and every of your emails. That's very important. So these are basics in terms of email. What you should do. Now, one of the interesting thing is the marketing material that you create. I'm sure you would have brochures, you would have presentations, you would have WhatsApp images that you share. All what we do is, I've seen this culture. What we've done is we create one or two or three set of things and we push it to everyone. Whoever, I don't care whoever the person, he's a owner, he's a logistics manager, he is the purchase head, he's in the finance. You keep on pushing the same material to each and everyone. Does not help. It will not help at all. It will not help you in conversions. So, so look at this, what we do. One of the things that I said, that we do same content to everyone. We also have different designs, and look at, if my website is blue in color, my brochure is red in color, my images are red in color, are in another color. Look at, you don't have a consistency. If you need to ensure that you have a set of colors which you use, which is very specific, same everywhere. Everything has to be same everywhere. If you do same things everywhere, you're gradually building a brand, and everybody knows you. They'll start recognizing you. Okay, this is the thing, this is the pattern, this should be the company. You need to ensure that. And then one of the things that we do is we add a lot of content. We write, if it's about us, we love our company, we love our brand, we like to write a lot. We'll write in 2, 3, 5 paragraphs. Nobody reads it. We need to just ensure that what is the basic concrete thing that is very important for people, and then we should create that. How do we solve it? We solve it using segmentation. And what is segmentation? I want to let me take you this slide and give you an example. In B2B scenario, typically we have three kinds of people. And I want to give you an example using Cogoport's example. So what Cogoport does, and that's our company, we help exporters, importers with their FCL, LCL, air shipments. Everything is online right now. You just go online, you can find rates. You don't need to send emails to multiple forwarders, CHAs. Go online, put your port of origin, port of destination, what kind of cargo it is, search, you get like 50, 60 rates. You don't even need to ask anybody. So all these are already available. Now for Cogoport, this is how we have broken down what kind of people we deal with in a very broad segment. So for us, in an SME, we have three kind of people. One is decision maker. Who is the decision maker who takes the final decision? Okay, this is if he says we do this, we do this. If he says no, no. So in typical SME scenario, what we realize is that there are two kind decision makers. One is the business owner, whoever is owning the business. He's the decision maker for us. So when we dig deeper, we realize that he is a person. For him, what is his core job? What does he want ultimately? He wants his business to grow. He wants more and more customers. He wants his customers to be very happy so that they can give him more business. And his major agenda is to increase his company's revenue and grow as a business. That is his major core agenda. And if I have to reach him and I don't tell him something that will help him meet his goal, that will not work for him. As in, for example, I say that you can find rates faster to a business owner who is not even dealing with logistics, because he has one person who is handling it. It will not do anything for me. All I need to do is I need to change my messaging that can tell him that if you use this online platform, because you're saving a lot of money, you get more visibility, you can get more finance. This will also help you get It will help you improve your customer service, because you're improving your customer service, your current customers will be happy. Because they will be happy, they will give you more business. That's why you should use CocoPort. This is one of the examples that I would like to, when I talk to a business owner, this is how what my messaging would be. Now, second type of business buyer is it called somebody called influencer. Who is the influencer? He might be dealing with the product, maybe he is also using it, but he cannot decide if he's supposed to buy or not. He is not a decision maker, but he is a very big influencer. He will go and recommend to the owner that, okay, I think this company has a great potential and they have done good business. I've done some research, I've seen their product. They have done pretty good damn job. So in our case, he's basically, most of the cases, he's either the owner's son, as in with some businesses we have seen that the sons have joined the dad's business and they become a great influencer at that case, because these are the guys who are digitally sold. They want to do business, they want to do online business, and they want to go very digital. So for us, but even though he's joined the business, he cannot take decisions. So for us, he's an influencer. Who is our second influencer? Our second influencer is actually the guy who deals with logistics. He's the guy who manages your documentation. He does calling to your customers and handles everything else. He's a very big influencer for me. And what is important for him in general, if it's a let's say if it's a logistics employee, for him, his career is most important for him. Doing his job more efficiently so that he does not he should do best of his job. So if I have to reach him, I tell him that because right now it takes you 2 days to get rates, using my platform you get it within 1 minute. I'm making his life very easier. It's very easy. You click a button, you find rates. You click a button, you book. You click a button, you get finance. You get click a button. With a click of button, everything is happening. I'm making his job life easier. So that's how I pitch it to him. I will not say this that won't go to owner and tell him that your job life will be easier. He will laugh at me. I'll go and tell this to a logistics employee. Similarly to a business owner's son, when I talk to him, I will tell him that if you use digital, because right now online is the way to go big. When you're going big, you cannot do things manually. You will have to use online, and he knows that. All he needs to do is I go him, give him a demo. He likes the platform because he already sold on this digital or online thing. He will fast use it. Now there's a third kind of person, somebody we call gatekeeper. Gatekeeper, the word comes in from the person who's standing in front of a gate, or like a watchman. When you're trying to enter the house, he's not allowing you to go. He will ask you a lot of questions. So when you're trying to reach international clients and abroad, they will stop you because sometimes they have secretaries, their personal assistants. These are the people. How do you deal with them? How do you tackle them? How do you get through them? You need to understand this. So here is one tool that I want to show you. So before creating content, you need to think about this. And yes, this is again HubSpot's tool. Uh, this is again HubSpot's tool. It's free to make. So you need to think in terms of, now you know in broad categories, one is your decision maker, one is your influencer, one is your gatekeeper. And I'm sure you have been talking to these people a lot, and you can start categorizing them. So what you do is you click on any of this, you just create a random name. Let's say, just give a random name. Let's say Mr. Anil. Just giving a name, and I'm assuming he looks like this, for example, and then I keep on going next. How old he would be like 35 to 44. Maybe he was done his graduation, and then I keep on creating. And then later on, once you create, it gives you like a PDF format and tells you this is the person who looks like. I'm sorry, let me drink water.
Till then, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put it on the chat button. We want to make this as engaging as possible. The reason Abhilash is showing all these tools is so that everyone kind of understands and can implement it practically for your own businesses. So, in case you guys have any questions, please feel free to post it.
Absolutely. Yes. So once you start creating this, the career characters, once it is done, you can easily it'll come like a template, and then you can. So next step is once the PDF is ready, that's when you start thinking about content. What kind of brochure should I send him? What should be messaging there? That's how you need to realize and think about it. That's when you actually help you increase more and more conversions. Now let's go to another tool. Now when I talked about content, how do you create content? Because this is not your specialty. You don't know how to write the copy, the text. You don't know what images to be done. You cannot design because that is not your job. So there are various tools here. So one of the interesting tools, and I'm sure a lot of people would be knowing, I'm not sure, but this is called Fiverr. It's a, I'll just show you. I think I would have opened Fiverr somewhere. Yeah. So look at this. This is a website for all freelancers. And one of the interesting thing about this is, for example, I book a job with him. Let's say I want an animated video, and this guy name is Mitch is writing. I book a job with him. So what happens is, Fiverr acts as a mediator. So you pay to Fiverr. The money does not get transferred to Mitchell till he delivers the work. And there is a yes from both sides. You have delivered the work. You said I'm satisfied. As after you click on you're satisfied, that's when the money gets transferred to him. So that's one of the advantages of this great platform. And you get all kinds of work that you can get done. You want look at this: UX writing, website copywriting, speech writing, digital marketing. If you want somebody to manage social media for some time, you can get that. Video making. If you want to build a website, that is possible. Anything that you want, graphic designing, logo designing. So there are tons and tons of it. Let's look at just for a, let's say I want to create a logo design, just for a quick benefit, I'm going to show you. Here are pro services. They are very professional. They are well known. So these are three categories. Local sellers are like in your area, in your country is locally sellers. Online sellers are basically as in whoever right now is online and you want to talk to him. So let's say I go for pro services because these are like top category services, and this is the guy. All you need, okay, this is expensive. You don't need to go for this, but you can see his past work, what all work he has done. And before clicking on code, you can click on contact me, send him a message, tell him that this is the work that I need. Why don't you work for me? And he'll get it done. Just explore this tool better. This will help you understand, get things done faster, and they're very professional. You won't be conned because the money goes to Fiverr. Until the time he delivers the work to you and you're happy with it, you don't need to pay. And if there's a dispute, you can raise a dispute. Things happen. Same as Fiverr, there's also this company called Upwork. Upwork is, I would recommend all for marketing related like brochures, etc., use Fiverr. All tech work use Upwork because I have a good experience with them. Now there's this company called Pepper Content. Pepper Content is an Indian company. They do all kind of translations. They do translations. They create content. It's an Indian company. The owners are from Bits, and it's an amazing. So get a quote. All you need to do is go to the quotation, type the name, and they'll reach out to you. They'll ask you what you need. So if you need to write, let's say you should definitely start a blog and target like one article in 2 weeks or maybe two articles in a month. That is manageable. That is not very expensive. And start creating gradually. And after 2-3 years, you'll have a very good chunk of repository. And these guys are very good at doing that. You want social media content, you want brochure content, whatever you want, they will ensure that people who have worked in the industry, for example, people who have worked in medical manufacturing, medical equipment manufacturing industries, they'll ensure they find those people and then they allocate to you to your project, so that they're not completely new to this industry, and you can get any kind of content done from them. This Pepper Content is great for content. This is done. Now, I think I'll just quickly, because we have crossed the time limit, I'll just quickly go through the site resource and just show you what all things I can do. For marketing, I want to show you this tool called Canva and Audience Insights. Zoho's CRM, most of you guys would be knowing, but you can look at it. Now look at Canva. So what is Canva? The interesting thing about Canva is all the designs are ready. It's available. All you need to do is make some changes to it. Now let's say I want to create a poster. I click on poster. It is free, by the way. It is free. Most of them are free. Now let's say I like this design. For example, let's say I want to do something for Christmas. I click here. Here something came up. Now look at how easy it is to do. All I need to do is, let's say, warm greetings from the Stewart family. I click here. I make it from Browse family, or whatever the name. Or if you want to add your company's name, you can do that. Now let's say I want to add my company logo. All I do is click on upload. So we have added, even I use Canva a lot. Let's say I go to the logo. Let's say I want to use CocoaPort logo. See, I got the CocoaPort logo. I reduce the size. I put it in one corner. Done. I'm ready. And there are so many templates available. Look at this. You want to create coronavirus posters, etc. This is like for, let's say, poster. Now you want to create something like for social media. You want to create something for Facebook. I click on Facebook. You want to create a Facebook post. I click here. What do you want? You want to do Christmas post? Click on this. Again, I change the name. So some of them are free, some of them are to look for free templates. Most you will find a lot of free templates. Some of them will be paid. You can find it here. If you click on templates here, you can see. This is here. You can see it's free. Some of them will be. Let me see if some of them are charged. Okay, this is chargeable. There's a fee to it. If you see, can you see that wherever you say watermark, it is chargeable. Wherever you don't see watermark, it's free. There are various designs available. If you don't want to hire anyone and want to do it yourself, use Canva. It's a great tool, free and can be easily doable. Now, what is audience insights? Let me look at this audience insights. I'll have to open it again. So, Facebook audience insights. Go to audience insights. Now, what is Facebook audience insights and why you should use it? So now you know that Facebook has our data. You click on pictures, you like a food picture, you like cat pictures, you like mountains, sea, whatever it is. So based on that, it starts creating a profile and starts collaborating you. That's how we, for example, I think some of you would have registered on an ad that you would have seen. I ran that ad on Facebook, and why it was showing to you, because some or other you would have interacted with an export or import specific content or SME or digital marketing content, because you some or other way long time ago you interacted with them. So Facebook knew that you are the person. If I show this ad to, you will register. That's how it happened. Now I'm going to show you some how you should, and if you want to know more about what kind of people are learning about a business and what they do, this is the place. Okay, here is the United States. I don't want United States. I'm go about India. Let's look at India. When you come about, let's say I'm an herbal hair oil company. Herbal. You won't find all options here. Okay, there's no. Then I might have to. Let's say herbal tea. I click on herbal tea. Let me give you this example. In India, now look at demographically. These are the Facebook audience that's available. The most number of people, men are men like 69% and women are 31%. And out of them, I think of this age group, most of the people are active on Facebook, 25 to 34. This is the relationship status: single, married, engaged in relationship are very less. Most of the people are in college or they have completed their college here. And these are the job titles. They're majorly mostly in management, and then into IT and tech services, etc., etc. These are people who like herbal tea. Now, if I have to sell herbal tea, I would ideally try to create an audience with management, people whose job title is something, let's say marketing management, operations management, etc., etc. These are the people who are highly likely to buy my herbal tea brand in India. Now let's look at page likes. This tells you what kind of people are there and what do they look for. So now, as a cosmetic store, they like Body Shop, L'Oreal, which means I'm assuming they're into grooming. Because they're into body shop, so I'm assuming these are people who love to groom their bodies. They want to look fit. They want to look good in front of people. That's the reason they like it. They also love to travel a lot. So they like Republic TV, for example. Now look, they like, most of the people like Republic. If I have to give an ad in India, I will certainly go to Republic TV and tell that, why don't you run my ad? Because Republic is like one of the most liked channel for this segment. And they're like Nika, they read Economic Times, they're fashion designer. It just gives an idea that they're into cooking, they're into traveling, They like love to watch news, business news specifically, and Oriflame. Just gives you an idea, generic ideas, and what kind of people are they. And this is the channel. So what you do is you use this information to create personas, to know what people like or what don't like. For example, I'll give you for Cogoport. When I use this, I realized that owners, business owners specifically, who are more than 35 years of age plus, they are more focused about their house. So they were buying a lot of equipment either for interiors of the house, or they were buying housing finance, or chairs, furniture, etc. of house. This is one of the things that I found in them. Now, if I look at this logistics employees and managers, these are the people who they like more materialistic things, which means they were buying more clothes, they were buying more watches, they were buying more shoes, wallets, they were spending their money there. And the owner's son, they were spending most of the money on iPhones, gadgets, Xbox. So that was the spending that I got to know. So in case I have to do something future in terms of, let's say I want to give a marketing incentive to a logistics employee for some competition, I won't tell them that you get an iPhone or something. I would tell them you get a voucher from Amazon, or you get a voucher from Flipkart, wherein because they are buying more they're buying more clothes, watches in the range of 2 to 3,000 rupees, and that's how I incentivize them. So these are the information that you can use to understand more and more. Now, how do you filter it, segment it? This is the age filter. Let's say I just want to know about men who are more than 35 years of age and less than 50 years of age. Let's say less than 50, 45. Look, now look at for men, they were looking for healthy tips. They want all Ayurvedic. This is a newspaper, TV channels that you can see. So they're more into news, healthcare, and look at this age group. They're also looking into paints, which means they want to get their houses painted. This is like a common trait in all people in this age group, 35 to 45. You will see they love to sing record level Saregama, Bhakti Saga. They love to listen to bhajan, Saregama. This is just a basic idea. This gives you a basic idea of what happens, what not. This is not very accurate, but gives you some direction on what kind of people you're dealing with. And for finance, now for export finance, now what has happened is now all of you, whoever is dealing with freight forwarders, they give you 30 days credit, and others are you either dependent on a bank or a local lenders, etc. There are various companies that I wanted to check out. One of these companies I'm going to show you today, which is Drip Capital. Yeah. So this is the Drip Capital's website, and they give you all kinds of financing, post-shipment, pre-shipment, for raw materials, etc., etc. You can see all the products: invoice factoring, post-shipment, receivable factoring. Look at this, explore this company for all kinds of financing that you're looking for, and they are amazing. One of the best thing about this company is that look at the blog section. You can go and, as in one of the best blogs I've seen in this industry. Even though I'm from Cogoport, I would like to vouch that Drip Capital's content is very good. We are learning from them actually. They're very good blogs to understand everything about exports and imports. But as in for finance, you can definitely use them. All they would do is they would look at a credit score of a company, and then they will give you a location. They also do invoice factoring, etc., etc. Check this company out for all kinds of finances. You don't need to go to a bank or any other. It's an NBFC-based financing option, and it's basically meant for Indian exporters. So do check out this company. Similarly, I've added two more people, like Lending Card for SME financing. There's Capital Flow. There's Modify. Modify is a international company that recently ventured into India. You can check this out, Modify. And finally, for shipping, there are tools. I think right now you must be aware that lot more companies are online right now. For Hapag gives you rate online, Maersk Spot rates you can find it, MSC does it, even Cogoport does it. I can just give you a quick glimpse of Cogoport, what we do. I'm guessing, yeah. Let me take you, I'll just show you one part, as in how do you want to search for rate. Let's say you want to do from Jebel Ali, like JNPT to Jebel Ali. So all I do is JNPT, Jawaharlal. Let's say, yeah, Jawaharlal Nehru to, let's say, Jebel Ali. This is the online platform. Once you sign up, it is free. To search the rate, it's free. I want, let's say, 2 containers. I want 20 feet size, standard dry, general goods, CFR, done. I click on search rate. Okay, they're asking for something else. All right. Okay, the weight of the cargo, let's say it's 21 ton, for example, just adding it up. Search rate. I have 53 results, 53 options of rates from various shipping lines, NVOCCs. Uh, you can all go through it. I can see, I just move it. I can see the cost breakup on the right side. What is the cost, etc., etc. And so what Cogoport does is Cogoport has listed various freight forwarders, shipping lines, NVOCCs on the platform. So you're not seeing rates from Cogoport. You're seeing rates from multiple forwarders, multiple shipping lines, NVOCCs. You're seeing rates from CHAs, etc., etc. Whatever you want. You want transportation, you add a service, you get to see the rates, factory duck stopping. Here is the customs rate. Everything is available online. Now you don't need to go do a mail blast to all your forwarders or CHAs and tell them I need a rate, and they get back to you in a day or two, whatever it is. Just come to Coco Port, put the, just as I did, port of origin, port of destination, basic information. How much did it take us? It just not even a minute to get the rates available. And you, from India to anywhere in the world, wherever you want to, even we do imports, exports, FCL, air, everything is possible. Just go through it and check it out. Similarly, you can do for Maersk. I think Maersk Spot is amazing. Hapag's quote, MSC has also started doing it. So a lot of shipping lines are also coming in, but they are a very separate platform. Companies like Cogoport, like they bring in everything into a single place, which is an advantage. That's how it is. All right, I think that's right for my side, and I'm open for any question that you have, and I can take it up on a case-to-case basis. Stop there. Yeah, you can now. I'm open for questions. I think there are few questions that so examples in COVID times can check. They are safe. Aditi, I'm not sure about your question.
We will be sending out the copy of the presentation and the recording as well in next week.
Yeah.
But till then, I would advise if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put it. You can also click on raise hand, and I'll give you guys the mic access, and you can directly speak.
Till then, let me sip some water. It's been almost an hour I've been talking.
We really hope that this was an insightful session. Or if you have a question from Mr. Andal, is there any tools to find our importing country's customer database for a particular product?
There are, as in every country, they have a listing. As I said, there's a B2B marketplace or B2B listing places. Just go for any country you want to and start searching. List yourself on these companies, and because if you're listing as a exporter there, there'll be obviously importers available. So every country has that. Like in India, we have India Mart, Trade India. So every country has those listing platforms. You can easily go and find those databases for any product that's already available. But there is no single tool that tells you that, okay, if I want Europe, that's a database. I want this. So this is one company I would recommend. This company called Compass, KOM. I'm gonna. How do I share it? I'll add those in the notes. So KO. I'm just gonna write on chat.
You can just copy the link and put it on chat. They'll be able to access it.
Yeah, yeah. So Compass is a company which is like a France-based company, and they have a lot of European database of exporters and importers. You can check that out. I've added few names in my presentations too. For example, in Russia, there's this platform called Kobi, wherein they have listed a lot of Russian buyers. You can find that. So the easiest way to do is, as I said, go to www.google.com, go to settings, change the country, and look for exporter importer listing platform, exporter importer marketplace. These are few keywords which you type, and you will get to know the relevant set of websites where you're supposed to register yourself and where you can find your database. That's the easiest thing to do.
All right, there's a question. Could you recommend some agencies for website creation?
Website creation. I would one is you can go to Fiverr, the tool that I showed you. I'll also it's in my presentation. Fiverr, you go, you find a lot of freelance. You don't need to go to an agency to do it. It's not a big job to do. Fiverr is one of the best thing to get your website done. Even Upwork, you will find a lot of freelancers. You can see the past work, whatever they have done, based on which you can assess it. If you want to do it on your own, there's something called www.wix.com. Check that out if you want to do it on your own. Wix.com is very new. If you want to go, you can do it on your own. If you want to create an e-commerce company, there's something called Shopify.com. But as an SME, as a business owner, you don't have that time or that skill set to spend that amount of time to build that. Just find a freelance. It does not cost a lot, one-time investment, but they will do a great job for you. And always look for high-rated creators, because these are the people who have worked before. They know what to do, what not to do, and then you can build it up.
Just to add in, apart from like the Google settings, you can also go on Facebook groups. Facebook groups is a beautiful way of networking because out there you will not only get other people and groups recommendation, but at the same time they'll be able to even connect you with the greater number of people. Because a lot of different Facebook groups are for different commodities and for different countries. I mean, there's a Facebook group for every small thing. So I would, just to add on to suggestions. So if you guys want, you can also check out Facebook groups and LinkedIn as well for a better networking opportunity.
Any more questions, or if you have any feedback to give, as in, I hope it was fruitful.
We'll take last few sessions. We're anyway running late. So last 5 minutes and you'd want to wrap it up after that. In case you still have further questions you want to speak directly, you guys can mail on events@cogoport.com. Cogoport covers all destinations for exports and imports. Please suggest me.
Yes, for exports we do cover all destinations. For imports, we are strong from Europe to Europe, Middle East to India. We have presence everywhere, but I would say in our stronger presence is Europe and Middle East to India in imports. But for exports, it's everywhere. No, we don't do Anil. We don't do courier mode. We just into FCL, LCL air shipments. So we do not deal into couriers.
For all the attendees, if you're an exporter and importer, you guys can go on cogoport.com. It's just a 30-second procedure to sign up, and you guys can explore the platform comparatively.
Yeah, Anil, I think if you want to know if you want to bring some samples from Malaysia, Cogoport won't be helping you. Because it will be a very small ticket size. Courier would do it for you. That should work for you. That will be cost effective. I think DHL, FedEx, all of them do it, so that will be cost effective.
Also, before we wrap it up, just kind of feedback you want to know, like considering today we did a session on separately on digital tools. If there is any particular topic you want to cover in future, where we can get expert speakers and make sure that certain topics get covered, because we understood there was a gap when it comes to marketing and the tools which needs to be used. That's the reason we decided to do this webinar today. If there's anything else, if you feel there is some gap for your business or anything of those that where you need an kind of an expert speaker to help you out, please feel free to mail us or like just give us suggestions. Avinash, I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
I don't see any big questions coming up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. The presentation and the recorded session will be sent next week. If there's anything, please feel free to mail on events@cogoport.com. And looking forward to see you guys for us. Please explore Cogoport in case you're an exporter. We hope we can connect with you guys and build this association. Thank you so much once again. Thank you, Abhilash.
Thank you.
I'll end the session.